That's why he's not planning on
I'm glossing over it, man.
Wait,
Damn, not just that. Damn.
let me make my point. Let me make my point.
Yo, guys, welcome back to the final whistle. Today, as you can see, we've got a special guest. We've got PB in the building.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've got a Chelsea fan in the building, and you know, it's kind of a sad one, guys. Kind of a sad one. End-to-end error, as you can say. Yeah. So the recent news of Eden Hazard retiring. So obviously we'll get PB's views on that in later on in the video. But what I wanted to start off is that I've had a little think this week, guys. Yeah.
Okay.
In a sense where I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's the end of an era to football in terms of how we see it." And I wanted to ask you guys whether you think it's more on the nostalgia side and where people are saying it's the end of an era, or is it just an era where we can't adapt to the new age of football?
This in relation to Hazard retiring?
It can be if you want to, but in terms of this era of football, you see how Wayne Rooney's gone, Zlatan's gone. Who else has recently retired? Do you know what I mean? Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Is it an end of an era of great football, or is it end of our era that we have to adapt to the new age? Is it nostalgia wrapped into it?
I think it's the end of a great era. I call it the expression era, because all these players that you just named always express themselves on the pitch. Like, these are real entertainers. I feel like Hazard is probably the last. Well, Neymar is still playing, so I guess he might be the last real entertainer. You know, these players that you don't care about the stats really, but they have the stats to back them up if they need it. But their main attraction is the eye test. Every time you see them on the pitch, they're doing things that are crazy. Yeah. Like, you just can't imagine. So I think in that sense, it's an end of an era. Like, I mean, what do you think?
I don't really agree, to be honest with you. I think we say end of an era. I can see why people say it, yeah. But at the end of the day, there's going to be other entertainers. You look at someone like Mbappe, to me, he's an entertainer. And you look at someone like Musiala, he's an entertainer. You look at Bellingham, he's Vinicius Jr. These are all players who, you know, some of them have similar play styles to some of the players that have gone.
Different types of entertainers, but at the end of the day, entertainer. And I feel like, I was going
to just finally say, for example, someone like Robin, him retiring is like, wow, what he did on that right-hand side. When you look at your boy Saka, I think he's got a very similar play style to Iron Robin as well. So I wouldn't say it's an end of an era. I'll just say it's an end of a period of... It's an end of an era in the sense of those players, those specific players. Yeah. But nothing's changing in the game. New players come in, old players go.
I think it's just more like focus on the stats rather than how they actually play.
But I feel like that ties into the nostalgia feel of it, and that's how I see it in terms of, yes, it's the end of an era because we grew up with these players. You know, we grew up with I know Messi and Ronaldo, they're still playing, but obviously it's not the same how it used to be. Eden Hazard is now retired. Gareth Bale is now retired. See, these players, Wayne Rooney has been gone for a couple of seasons now, a while now. But it's like these players we grew up with, and it's like, it's sad, but we have to adapt in the sense where there's new players now, and we need to get into it. We kind of have to get out and just adapt to what is now. Do you know what I mean? So in terms of Eden Hazard, I know you being a Chelsea fan, how does it feel in terms of him retiring and what's your take in the whole end of an era sense of thing?
Yeah, firstly, if I touch on the end of the era thing, I feel like it's definitely an end of an era. Just obviously, it does require adaptation, and the game is changing. Like you know, that goes for so many different points. But I don't think it's just those specific individuals. I genuinely think it's their style of play. What Raf said is true. In people are going to entertain now in different ways. So Mbappe will entertain by doing what he did in the World Cup final, or doing what he did even in the international game, where he was a worldie like that. Like, you know, so people are gonna entertain in different ways, and you know, even Haaland, we can't lie, it's entertaining to see him score 5 goals in one game against. It's always against.
It's a lot of tap-ins.
It is tap-ins, but you know, the sheer fact that he's doing it is entertainment. And then they watch football to see teams win and to see teams score goals. But however, the style in which, you know, Hazard would light a team up, the goal against Liverpool, the goal against West Ham, look what happened against Tottenham to give Leicester the league, like things like that. It just doesn't really happen in that way anymore. I feel like that spark is leaving the game.
that comes into the way football is played now, with the whole tactical side of it, not in terms of what players are there, because players will still play football the same way that they've been playing football. When you look at, I don't know, football fans that are older than us, they will say that their era was better. The likes, I mean, I was able to see the likes of Beckham and Giggs, but they were coming towards the end of their careers. When they were younger, players like Brian Robson and these type of players, when people talk about them, George Best, Eric Cantona, when they talk about them, Patrick Vieira, they say that these players were...
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
These players, although I got to see them play, but when they were younger and in their best periods of time, people say that was the best time of football. But again, it's their nostalgia, it's how they grew up and how they became to love the game of football. I came up loving the game of football, watching Ronaldo, watching Wayne Rooney, watching Paul Scholes. Do you know what I mean? This is why I like football. So I think we just have to kind of adapt to it.
Yeah, you're right. I do think we need to adapt. Obviously, there is going to be a couple individuals left who do like kind of express themselves. But I'd say in general, that era of expressing yourself as a footballer, for now, to me, it's gone. It could come back. You never know. Like, football changes in so many different ways, but for now, it's gone. Like, look at the way Pep plays the game. Like, but it's amazing. Like, obviously, the tiki-taka at Barca was unbelievable, but you know, at City, it's not the same thing. A lot of it is ball recycling, ball retention. That Grealish going on the left and passing back all the time, like, bro, man, you're a winger, bro. You're a winger, bro. Like, take on your fullback. Bro.
He's not a winger. I've been saying it since he went. He's a 10. He's not a winger.
But even then, when you're a 10, look at Maddison, bro. Maddison's a lot more of an expressive 10. Like, he does things that you think are raw on the pitch. That you think, wow. Grealish, like, it's that ball retention. Like, you know, cool, he might slip in a little pass, but it's never like something that would get you off your seat or make you think, oh my days when you're at home. You have a couple players still like that. Vinny's definitely an example of a player like that. And Doku now in the Premier League, because, you know, he's always going to take on a player and try and dribble. But in general, it's died down.
I think part of the problem comes from the fans, though. Because, for example, if you look at Hazard, he had games where he was at a 10. Him expressing himself worked, and it worked against the teams he was playing against. But then you also had games where he had a rotter. And it was because the expression of yourself, sometimes you're going to lose the ball. Now, that brings me on to certain players, and I'll give you an example, not to focus on him, but Bruno Fernandes, right? He is someone that expresses himself on the pitch. But do you know who actually gets onto Bruno the most? The Man United fans. For expressing himself. Yes, he's going to lose the ball. He's going to have great games and bad games. But to me, that's what comes with expressing yourself. And if the managers, some managers are going to have a problem with it. Some managers won't. But it's also the fans. Don't we want to see this entertaining style of football as well?
But you know, I think it's also the team performance as well. Because Hazard would sometimes grab the game by the scruff of the neck and say, look, I'm going to do my thing. You just be there in the box when I either lay it off for my man or I set you up or give me the 1-2. Whereas I feel like players like Bruno, I think you're saying that, or, you know, you guys are getting onto him because you don't want to see it. But I think you guys wouldn't mind if everyone else in the team was doing their jobs really well. Like if he was still expressing himself and you guys were winning endless amounts of games, you know, you guys won the league, I don't think you guys would really mind.
I hear what you're saying, but it still goes back to what I was saying though, in the sense of with Hazard, for example, it didn't always work. They finished 10th place sometimes. They didn't always finish in the top 4. Well, and I'm not saying that's all. Sorry, and I'm not saying that that's all down to Hazard. But I'm just saying, yes, Hazard is able to dribble and rely that, okay, Diego Costa or Eto'o or Torres or someone will be in the box for him to pass the ball into you. But it didn't always work. I think
I completely agree with what you're saying in terms of it comes down to the fans and why football is the way it is now. Because I feel like now we're looking at football players as if they're robots. Do you know what I mean? And,
exactly.
And I think the joy we got from football is that, oh my days, look at this footballer, look what he's doing on the pitch. I wish I could be like that type thing. Do you know what I mean? They're so amazing that they're doing on the pitch. When we watch Ronaldinho, it was like, oh my days, he's controlling the ball with his back. Do you know what I mean? That is so cool. But now, when people are doing like what Anthony's doing, people are onto him. No, but do you know what I mean? Pattern up. Pattern up.
No, watching Ronaldinho's back in that, man.
You get what I mean? Whereas now you kind of look at them as robots, and it's killing the game in a sense. Pattern up.
I hear you.
I do hear you. Anthony as well. He's gonna come under a lot of scrutiny for that. But you know what the thing is as well. Like obviously you talk about Hazard and these different type of players.
Wow.
You can be an expressive forward if you have a good DM like Kante to sweep up the game behind you and things like that. Sorry, and I'm not. Matic, exactly. And I'm not trying to slate United here. Like I know it seems like I am, but bro, if Bruno loses the ball, high up the pitch or wherever he does, sometimes Casemiro just doesn't have the legs to go and break down the play like he would have 2-3 years ago. So if you know those are the facilities in your club, bro, instead of
to,
trying to
yeah.
play this crazy outside of the football through the lines, brother, just pop it off and play football, man. That's the issue.
But
with Bruno.
okay, fair enough. Oh, yeah, go on, me there.
I was gonna say with Hazard, yeah, everyone. I think we can all admit that Hazard technically, on his day, is incredible. You know, right foot, left foot, he's dribbling crazy. Do you think he might be one of the best we've seen in terms of Premier League?
In terms of dribbling? Or in terms of just a player?
Do you know, we can even say ability-wise.
Yeah.
Definitely up there in terms of dribbling. 100% definitely up there in terms of dribbling. Player-wise, to be fair, would he be a Premier League inductee? I don't think so.
Hall of Fame.
You mean a Hall of
Hall of
Fame?
Fame. Because that's crazy names.
I don't know.
It goes back to Ralph's point, kind of like just longevity. It didn't really like help him, but he was at Chelsea from what
2013.
2013, just after we won the champs, the first one, and then
Okay.
and then obviously he left.
I mean, the first one for him, well, you've seen your team when it's twice. First. Have you seen your team?
What's going on here? We're talking about Hazard.
Oh, right. I'm talking about Hazard.
But yeah,
Have you seen your team in it? I've seen my team in it.
And then obviously he left kind of just that when we won the Europa, the final one. So like he was there for a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
But what people don't get is he didn't really have a bad season. Like when we finished 10th,
we did.
When we finished 10th, I don't know. This is rumors and things like that. One, he was injured, and two, that whole dressing room down tools, him included, they turned on Mourinho. The whole dressing room did. It's poor. It's poor. Like, I understand, but apart from that, when we're talking like him playing well, bro, he was a baller throughout the time.
Let me tell you this. Yeah, so Hazard was there for what, 7 seasons?
Something like that. Yeah, he left in 2020, right after Baku. That's what.
Yeah, 2018 Baku. Yeah.
No, he left in 2019.
No.
'Cause he had 4 seasons at Real Madrid.
Baku was 2019. Yeah, and then we sacked Emery afterwards, and then COVID.
6 years.
Yeah. So half of them, world class. The other half
of them. No, come on. Most of them. I would say 5 out of 6 seasons.
World class seasons from Hazard. From Hazard alone.
World class.
Because let's be real, Hazard.
I don't want it to seem like the other 3 he was shit though.
No, I'm not gonna say no. I'm not saying he was like dead those other 3 seasons. He just was average those 3 seasons. Like no. Let's be real. No. Let's be real.
The first one he touched down, season when we finished 10th, I'm almost right. Bro,
that's
I'm
a write-off.
All the players.
Exactly. So him included.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. And then the other one, yeah.
Yeah, you won the league. You won the league, and then you won Europa League. That was his farewell tour. So he did well that whole season because he knew he was leaving.
I hear it, but then in those, if you look at the contrast, in those seasons where he was so good, bro, people were discussing him next to Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah, but do you know the difference between him and Messi and Ronaldo and those other players and Neymar? It's consistency, bro. Yeah, you can't turn up in 2016 and then fall off in 2017 and come back again for 2019. It doesn't work like that.
And the thing is, that goes on to my point as well, because we're talking about Hazard's career, but we're only talking about Chelsea. We can't just forget that he had 4 seasons. 4 seasons at Real Madrid and scored 7 goals. 4 seasons and he scored 7 goals. You can do a fact check. But 7 goals, like you can't forget that. And that to me is why, he doesn't go down as a all-time great, even of our generation. He goes down as a Premier League great for the years he did, but not even to the level of. I don't think people should compare him to Salah, in my opinion. We don't need to go into that right now, but I think when you look at
in trouble there.
when you look at how old he was, him going to Real Madrid at 27 or 28.
Yeah.
And going on to score 7 goals.
He was finished
the biggest
at that
fuck
point.
up I've seen.
Yeah, but you need to also remember Eden Hazard was such a talent that it was shown that he doesn't train in
I was
training.
say that,
train.
That's how good he was.
That's his own.
I love him.
In the nicest way possible, not even personally. That's irrelevant, bro. Because you have to train, bro. Like that tells me his shit.
Man said we talking about practice.
Nah,
it's on him. But he was so good that he didn't need to train. Imagine. I mean, I can say we can all say imagine if, but it's like a thing where. We all knew he was kind of finished when he went to Real Madrid. You know
but at the same time, like it doesn't make sense because after like a Hall of Famer performance in the Europa League final, where he had I think a goal and 2 assists, or maybe 2 goals and 1 assist, and him saying, "Look, Chelsea, here you man go, final European title, and then let me go off to do my dirt in Real Madrid." Man turned up. It was like 2 months later. Overweight.
Yeah.
In your first pre-season.
Come on, man. Like, I don't respect that, man.
I was watching the overlap what they did with Roy Keane, Carragher, Neville, right, and some other football. I can't remember who her name was, but they were talking about it, and it's true what Roy Keane was saying, because it's like you can't expect to just be good and stay good, especially when you go from Chelsea to Real Madrid. Real Madrid, no matter how they do in the season, this is a team that expects the best, because essentially over history they are the best, and everyone who's been there, all the success stories, they've all been the best. Yeah. They've all been there and done that.
You know what the thing is?
It's irrelevant what he's done at Chelsea.
Yeah, you know what the thing is with him. Yeah, we obviously don't know the ins and outs of the of why he showed up overweight. I think the injury that done him basically in the end was the ankle injury. And I think he has like metal plates in his ankle.
Yeah, but because of one ankle, man's 10 kilograms heavier. What's going on here?
I hear it, but obviously, bro, that might affect the way. I'm not trying to cut him no slack, like, but that might affect the way you train, etc. Different things.
I can't lie.
Like, he
there's a confidence thing.
Wasn't he one of the most foul players in the?
He was, and so was Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah,
I hear it's true. You can't make excuses just because you like the way you played when he was in the Premier League. The bottom line is, when he went to Real Madrid, we were thinking he's going to be put in, not in the same category as Ronaldo and Messi, but just beneath that.
He's going to fill that void.
He's going to fill that void.
Not to the same extent.
He was going to be great, and he went on to score 7 goals. He fucked up, man.
And let me say this.
Fucked up.
Let me say this. Obviously, I don't know about you guys in your personal lives. I don't fucking know him. I'm not going to cut him any slack. Do you know what I mean? I don't get me wrong. Even though he's done dirt against Arsenal in the league, especially Europa League as well.
That's why he's not cutting no slack.
I'm glossing over it, man. Let me make my point. Honestly, like, I don't have any slight against him, because at the end of the day, even if you are like, you know, causing havoc against my team, against other teams, winning leagues, cool, I can still appreciate a fantastic player at the end of the day. But if you're then going on to take your career from here to here by going on to the biggest club in the world, onto the biggest stage of the world, and then you're just like, I don't get it. Like, as a footballer, you know the training regime, you know, sticking to your weight, you have dietitians, you have nutritionists, you have all these players, staff at the club, and also in your personal life to keep you fit on top of your game. Yeah, and then he's going to come overweight to Real Madrid.
It's one of his main downfalls.
Come on, man.
And also, like I'm meant to be the guy defending him here, but then was it the 2018 World Cup?
Yeah.
Was that the one
where he was like the best player? Yeah.
Where he was the best, but then he had a tournament before it where it was so bad he was like allegedly paying people to
the Euros,
all the highlights of it.
I don't know.
So it's some, you know. It's not, of course, not a purple patch, but like, you know, it's a shortened period, like where he was so good, but he was a lot better than everyone.
Right.
If you spoke about how you watched Kara and them not talking about him, Kara said it, and a lot of people say it. At that time, he's definitely the best player in the Prem at that time.
And I think it was more so about his ability and what we know he can do. It's just that for me, the only reason why I wouldn't put him in Premier League all time is because he wasn't consistent enough in the amount of years he was there.
So that's what I'm about to ask you. I'm going to ask all of you guys 2 questions. So the first one being, well, I've got your answer. Does Eden Hazard get into that Premier League all time at some point in the future? And is, in the context of football, is this the end of an era, or is it an end of an era that we need to adapt to? Raf, you can start off.
End of an era, I guess maybe to some people, not to me. It doesn't really make a difference to me. In terms of, is he an all-time Premier League great? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Premier League.
Does he get into that 11 is what you're saying now?
No, not the 11. Oh, not the 11. Of the Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame, to me, they give it to a lot of people that they shouldn't give it to. So probably, yeah. But I think, you know, it's such a broad thing is what I'm trying to say. It's not a thing where they say, oh, we're only going to have 50 players in it altogether. I think it's so broad that, yeah, he probably does get into it. Above some of the players that are in there now, definitely.
It is an end of an era, yeah. And no, he doesn't get into that Premier League Hall of Fame. Yeah, don't think he does.
For me, yeah, it's the end of an era. And yeah, he does get in. He's the best Chelsea player I've probably like seen talent-wise.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm young, but with my own eyes, yeah, he's one of the best Chelsea players I've seen.
I think it's an end of an era in terms of us. It's just a nostalgia. In terms of what we've seen, what we've grown up with, yeah, it's the end of the era, but we, as football fans, just need to adapt. And he definitely gets into that Hall of Fame for me. I mean, he was a fantastic player all his Chelsea career. Although it didn't work out at Real Madrid, for the Premier League, he did really well. So, Yeah, there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that video on whether or not it was the end of the era for us and for football, and on Eden Hazard's career. So obviously, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave your comments below. Let us know if you enjoyed the video on TikTok, on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. And yeah, just let us know what else you want to see. And yeah, that's it from us.
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Peace.